Today, on Holocaust Remembrance Day, I want to talk about how I became aware of the Holocaust. Listen, I was a Catholic girl growing up in a totally Catholic neighborhood who went to Catholic school, and I didn't even know a Jewish person until I got to high school. However, in 1978, there was a miniseries called The Holocaust, and this series was extremely chilling. And I'm sure I'm not saying I didn't hear about the Holocaust. I'm not saying we didn't hear about Anne Frank, but this was me watching this series and watching the brutality. And I've learned a lot of things from TV, and this was one of them, what went on. And as a child who's very sensitive and empathetic and compassionate, and I was 11 when that series came on, it really impacted me greatly. And I spent a lot of time in my childhood thinking about how did this happen? How could this happen? What would I do? And I didn't feel safe because I was Catholic, because I didn't think that way. I empathized with these people who were attacked and assaulted and slaughtered and genocided, and it really touched me, hurt me deeply in my soul. And two things I remember being from a very young age, there were two things that always stuck with me from learning about the Holocaust. And one was, how could the Germans go along? How could they go along? Why did they follow Hitler? Why did they just let this happen? How could they let this happen? Like, even as a child, it shocked me to my core to think that anybody, good person, could watch their neighbor being dragged away and do nothing. Okay. That was number one. Number two was, why didn't the Jewish people fight back? There was more of them than those soldiers and the SS and Gestapo. Why did they comply? Why did they just comply? Why didn't they fight back? So these are the two things that stuck with me as a child. Why did the Germans do nothing, allow it to happen, or support it? And why didn't the Jewish people fight back and comply? And this is really important because as we see what's going on right now in places like Minneapolis, we're being told, especially from the conservatives and Republicans, that if you don't comply, you could be executed. And it's better for you to comply because if you comply, nobody's going to get hurt. And we know that's BS because the people that we've seen who are complying are being executed. But it's hard for a human to believe in a place of law and order that we've always known, of rules and of things that make sense. We can't make sense of it. If somebody tells us comply or die, then we comply, even when we're seeing that it doesn't matter, even when we're seeing that they're monsters and sociopaths. So, right now, when we're being told to comply, no, no. And I'm so proud of Minnesota for pushing back and pushing and pushing and pushing, and they're winning. Bovina's out of there. ICE looks like a mess. Trump looks like a disaster. So we are not complying. We are not going gentle into the good night. We are not believing the lies because Germany and the Holocaust has taught us something. You cannot comply with fascists. You cannot. You cannot. Now, that doesn't mean we meet their violence with violence. It means we don't comply when they tell us to get into a back of a truck and lead us away. That's number one, I realize. And I know that's harder said than done because some of us were born rule followers. It's what we were raised to be. And the other thing is, why do the good Germans do nothing? Well, I'm seeing a lot of people who probably consider themselves good Americans, good Christians, good Republicans, good conservatives. And I'm here to tell you, no, you're not. You're not good. Good people don't do nothing. Good people don't look away when their neighbors are being dragged away and disappeared. Good people get involved to help their community, to help their country. Good people have a soul. And if you're a coward, I understand. And if you're afraid, I understand. I get it. If you support this, there's something else going on. And I will never support that. I say over and over again, I'll never forget and I'll never forgive. And that's what we like to say on this Holocaust Remembrance Day. Never again, never again. And yet, we see it happening again. Now, for those of us who think we're exaggerating, they're not carting people away to camps. Not yet. This is the steps they take. First, we get people on our side, the good people who do nothing. Then we make the enemy the other, and then we make them criminals who we tell them to comply or else they die. And once they're willing to comply, then we can cart them off. Then we can get rid of them. It's all there. The handbook's all there. We know that. That's why the resistance needs to pay attention and be strong. What we have going for us that Germany did not have is we have a stronger resistance. We have enough people who know this is effed up. We are not going to be good little Americans who wave bye bye. We're not going to bow down to these GD fascist nationalists sociopaths. We're not. There's enough of us who've already said no that we can resist, resist, resist. So that's my little take on International Remembrance Day. I was not there, but everything I learned as a child has stuck with me. I never thought, having learned that it could ever happen again. And now I see it can because there's too much evil in this world and there's too many people who are willing to look the other way, or because they curry favor, look the other way, or because they don't have any care for people who don't look like them or aren't part of their tribe. But we need to stay on strong, the resistance, and remember today more than any other day, Minnesota, we love you. Thank you.